Once upon a time, there was a Japanese company called GameFreak. Nobody gave a shit about them. Then they made a game called Pokemon, and still nobody gives a shit about them. But before they made Pokemon, they made a game called Pulseman. What is this game, you may ask? Well, it's one of those rare Japan-only games which people will pay $200 for on eBay. I'm not even kidding. Go look it up right now. And all just so they can play this rare Japan-only game despite being on Virtual Console. So how bad is this game, you may ask? Well, let's just start off by saying this. All you need to know is that this game was made by GameFreak, the same people who brought you the masterpieces Pokemon Red and Blue. And let's face it, this game is just mediocre. People say this is some good rare Japan-only game. If this was really so good, think about this. Why didn't Sega bring it to America? Because the only way it got brought to America was on Sega Channel. If it was really that good, they would have released it in cartridge form. But let's start the review off, shall we? So anyways, you start the game off with probably where the most time and effort was put into. The Sega logo. And then it goes all downhill once you hear the heavily compressed music, like, whoa kids, we can make music that sounds like meh, like terrible. Like the Genesis wasn't known for sound quality, but this music is just bad. But let's start the game off. Pretty much you play as not Mega Man or Pulseman or whatever, designed by the same person who designed 99% of Pokemon, Ken Sujomori. And as you can tell, the game has the same, looks like it was done by the same person, because it was. But anyways, you play as Pulseman, and you run around, spending your boring time trying to kill enemies, because it's really annoying. I mean, you have to jump around, avoiding the enemies, because if you even come near an enemy, you're fucked, because they got hitboxes the size of... The hitboxes are just ginormous. I mean, they're about the size of, say, New York City, because if you come even near an enemy, you're fucked. So basically, you have to crouch and hit the enemies, and did I mention your Revolt attack is wimpy, and the enemies have spawn issues and amazing AI. Look at this amazing AI. It's like they hired Rockstar Games to do the AI for it. I mean, seriously, this is just pathetic. And I'm only in the first level. So you get this Volt attack, which is a piece of shit, because it's hard to control and basically causes you to bounce off. And look, the game's got spawning issues. The enemy despawns and somehow he comes back there. What the fuck? This is just cheap. And this happened a lot when I was playing. The enemies will despawn and spawn a lot. I mean, but then again, this was coded by GameFreak, the same people who developed the map. Look, I barely even touch him. I'm fucked. Then again, this was coded by the same people who coded the coding masterpiece Pokemon Red and Blue, which took several years to code, yet, because they couldn't keep backups or whatever, the game still felt like it was horrendously rushed, despite starting in like 91, 92, and finally coming out in 96. 4 years of development feels rushed. If this happened today, and was by EA, there would be a backlash. But no, this is perfectly normal for GameFreak, because GameFreak is possibly the biggest joke of a developer ever, in my opinion, because look at the spawning issue. This is just glitchy. I mean, pathetic. You'd think that they'd make it where you could actually... So I'm gonna run past here. What the fuck? What the fuck? My guy just bounced off, and he just went across the screen. Well, let me show you an instant replay. But yeah, that's a common theme on this game. This game will feel glitchy and unplayable at times. But then again, it makes more sense when you realize this was developed by the same people who developed Pokemon Red and Blue. At least with Gold and Silver, they finally made it a lot less glitchy, despite the game having plenty of glitches later on, like the infamous tweaking / map escape in Diamond and Pearl. But then again, who knows? Pokemon is really glitchy in ways too. And did I mention that, well, this game also has references in Pokemon? Yep, when they ran out of ideas during around Generation 4, they just used, one of the Pokemon. They made a Pokemon based off this, Rotom. I'm not even kidding. And then they based some other guys off the characters in this game, too, for Generation 4. I wish I was kidding, but no, go look it up. It's true. Now on to the graphics and sound. The graphics are possibly the best part of the game. Too bad not only do you have issues with the backgrounds blending in, but you also have issues with, well, you have seizure backgrounds later on in the game. I'm not even kidding. I mean, and did I also mention that the game seems to have, like, art style is all weird and shit? I mean, many of the enemies you fight are bland as fuck. It's like, if this was an Action 52 game, the enemy selection would be like, what is this shit? I'm not even kidding. I mean, seriously, this game just blows. It's not even fun to play. And in the music, it sounds heavily compressed. It's a Genesis game, I know, but it sounds like shit, and it's forgettable too. It'll give you its ear rape. All in all, don't buy this game, especially non-virtual console, not for 200 bucks. Don't buy this game. But then again, people will pay 200 bucks for this, which makes you wonder why. In the end, though, all this game has convinced me is that GameFreak can't develop for shit. Sure, they may have gotten better, like, after, say, Generation 2 of Pokemon, but even then, after Generation 2, they've still had many, many glitches. Just proving GameFreak isn't really that good of a developer in the first place. All in all, thanks for watching, subscribe for more, and please support developers who actually put time in their games. But then again, seems like those are dwindling as you've got more developers like, look at what happened with Irrational Games and BioShock Infinite. That game kind of looks unfinished. But then again, thanks for watching, subscribe for more.